the question that haunts parents the most when their children are killed is, did she know what was happening to her?
Alicia was at home that evening. She was asleep in her bed. Someone has entered that house and murdered and raped her while there were other people asleep in other rooms and while her sister Juliet was asleep in the bed next to her. It is a horrible, terrible event to happen to such a young person.
I want to know why he chose our house. Had he been watching Alicia? Had he been watching the girls? Why did he come into our house when there were 4 adults in the house? You know, it's all those questions. This man has been for 40 years of my life and people close to me, the faceless monster. You know, you just think, oh heck, you know, how many years have I got left? Can we have an answer before I pass?
In June 2020, I was asked to relook at the Alicia O'Reilly homicide, primarily to see whether there were any opportunities to use the current techniques and technologies that we have for our investigations. The investigation team took a box each and started looking through it. I had a look at box 1. Through my review of box 1, I came across an envelope, and in the envelope it had 2 swabs, and the swabs were in the name of Alicia O'Reilly. There were no markings on that envelope. It was an envelope sitting at the bottom of the box. Our research on the file indicated that the swabs were taken during Alicia's post-mortem, and for us that was a significant find.
Oh look, I can't even begin to try and explain how I felt, because there was shock immediately and then there was elation, and then I went back into that, oh okay, well settle it down, Nance, you know, it may or it may not have any results, just sit on it. And I mean, I think that's what I've had to do over the years, not get too upset or not get too elated about things. But I mean, what a major breakthrough.
We took it through to our scientists, ESR, and we asked them to analyse it to identify first whether or not there was any chance that those swabs contained the offender's DNA profile.
I was very interested in being part of this case because it did happen such a long time ago, and I knew that the techniques that we might use aren't the standard techniques that we use on a day-to-day basis. So DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, and it is a complex chemical that's found in almost all of the cells of the human body. And so there's 2 different tests that are quite important in this case. The standard DNA profiling looks at DNA sites found on those 22 chromosomes that are found in both males and females. For the Y testing, so that's only looking at DNA sites found on the Y chromosome. So that means it's male specific. So from those tests, we did have a partial Y chromosome profile and a male standard DNA profile. They were both partial, but they weren't too partial. So we were able to compare them to DNA profiles that were on the crime sample databank. And for the standard, we were able to compare them to profiles that are on the DNA profile databank. Unfortunately,
there was no result. So what that means is that the offender's DNA had not been placed into our database, so we had not obtained it over the last 40 years. The silver lining for us now, our investigation team, is that this case is solvable, that we have the offender's DNA profile, and what we need to do now is find the person who matches that profile or has a strong likelihood of matching that profile.
I would hope that finding the DNA, it would bring some closure in the fact that they would be able to match it with somebody. Now is the time for people, to come forward if they had any suspicions at the time, to please come forward so that we can take the DNA, so that we can, if nothing else, eliminate them.
We have a behavioural science unit in the police. They were able to give us some guidelines on what we could use in our persons of interest list or our matrix to prioritise the people who we speak to. Those included geographical proximity or closeness to the actual place where it occurred, and also things like past criminal offending, similar deviancy type behaviours. We have over 800 people on that list currently. A number of people that were high on our list have been eliminated. We have over 100 samples and we continue to do that. Our message is we want Alicia's story told, and we would like to provide Nancy, Alicia's mother, Barry, Alicia's father, and their family with a resolution. In order to do that, we do need the help of members of the public. However small it may be, it's still relevant to us. What we do know as an investigation team is that the smallest of informations can lead to the biggest breakthroughs.
Does it bring back the pain? Yes, it does bring back the pain. Does it bring back the hope, that someone will be brought to justice? Yes, of course it does. I wouldn't be human if it didn't. I have no idea how I'll feel if they catch somebody. Will I feel relief? Yes. Will I feel anger? Yes. Will I feel rage? Probably. But I can't tell you unless that happens.